Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear trailblazers. Welcome to another powerful chapter in our ongoing series. Any club can thrive, any member can succeed. Each session in this series has been a spark of transformation. We have explored what it truly takes for a club to flourish, for a member to rise, and for leadership to create lasting impact. Together, we have seen knowledge turn into action and action into momentum. And today, we continue that journey with a special theme: Take Charge, 10x Your Impact. So get ready to be inspired, to be challenged, and most importantly, to rise. Because today isn't just about leadership, it's about legacy. So, are you all ready? I request all of you to turn on your videos and show your smiling face to keep this session more lively and vibrant. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to see all of you joining from different parts of the world, from different time zones. So please type your name, club name, and the country you are joining from. All of you can type in the chat the place you are joining from, the country, and your name. Thank you. We have Jonathan Mustafa joining from Philippines. We have past international international president of Toastmasters, Lag Dolly. We have Jyoti joining from Chennai, India. We have So joining from Senegal, Dennis from Washington, USA, Lydia from Kenya, Maria from Canada, Sirka from Namibia. We have members joining from Singapore, Owen. Gangma is joining from Hyderabad, India, South Africa. We have members joining from Spain, South Africa again, Nairobi. Hannah is joining us from Namibia. Feta from Saudi Arabia, New Zealand. Amazing. It's wonderful to see that we have members joining us from all over the globe. Thank you. I am your MC for today, Dr. Ashwati Rajan, joining from India. I am a scientist and instructional coach and a trainer. Also, the immediate past Smedley Distinguished Club Grow Director of District 120. I will be the MC for today. And if you have any question to the speaker, please direct them to me or put it in the chat box. But before moving to the session, I have a question to all of you. And you will see a poll coming on right onto your screens. I request Zoom Master to share the first poll for all the participants. So here comes the first poll. Do you feel you are in the driver's seat of your Toastmasters growth? Means, do you feel that you are the in charge of your Toastmasters growth? Let me see the responses. Okay. Most of you are fully in charge. Some of you are still hesitant. And I still see some response where you think that you are not yet there. And some are still figuring out. Amazing. Thank you so much for all the responses. Here comes another question for you. Zoom Master, please share the next poll. Thank you. So your next question is, what do you think holds most members back from taking charge? Okay. Is it fear of failure, lack of confidence, waiting for permission, or not enough time or commitment? Okay. Let's see the responses here. Most of you think that you don't have enough time or commitment. Okay. And then the second highest voted option is lack of confidence. And some of you are waiting for permission from someone else, and there is a fear of failure in some members. But I'm glad that all of you are responding. We have 100% participation here. Thank you so much for that. So here 51% of you think that we don't have enough time or commitment. Thank you so much for the responses. These responses will help us to move forward. And as you all saw, that your response say it all. Why is this session so vital? Because too many members drift, dabble, or wait for permission. Leadership doesn't begin with the title, it begins with a decision. A decision to stop waiting for approval, to step into your agency, your driver's seat, and to embrace your personal power, the multiplier of clarity, confidence, and influence. So, fasten your seatbelts because today is not about waiting for authority. It's about choosing impact. It's about taking charge. It's time to invite the speaker now. Our speaker today is a true legend in Toastmasters and beyond. The founder of Leadership Speak, the top club globally, a three-time distinguished Toastmaster and a coach, trainer who has transformed clubs and leaders across 3 continents. But before I introduce him formally, we need to celebrate something extraordinary. Yesterday was his birthday, and we are not going to let that pass quietly. So here's what I want all of you to do right now. Open your Zoom chats, fill it with balloons, cakes, confetti, and type in a huge happy birthday, Brahm. Happy birthday, Brahm. Wow, the chat box is filled with cakes, hearts, confetti. Wonderful to see this. Zoom Master, you should capture this moment. Thank you so much for making this day special for all of us. So now it's time to invite the main person, the person behind this amazing session. And I'm sure, Brahm, you can feel the love of all the participants here. Now the gift turns around because Brahm is giving us his favorite subject, his birthday gift to all of us. Take charge, 10x your impact. It's about autonomy, agency, personal power, the foundation of legendary performance. Friends, buckle up for a session that will inspire and transform. Please join me in giving a thunderous virtual welcome to Brahm Memon. Brahm, the virtual stage is all yours.
Taking charge is sometimes very difficult. Now, I know a lot of people here said we are in charge. Let's have a look and see how much more in charge you can be and why are we stopped from taking charge of what we really need to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, fundamentally, you know, or maybe you don't know, but if you've been to my events before, you will know that I've always said this. Fundamentally, we are wired for survival. It is our survival impulses are 400 times faster than our needs to thrive and flourish. We have this deep need, a very deep need to be accepted, a high need for validation and recognition. Because when we evolved over thousands and millions of years, the small little tribe, we belong to groups of 50 to 150 people. maximum, and we needed to be accepted, to be part of the tribe. Otherwise, we would die on our own in isolation. But in today's world, even though we need high need for acceptance and validation, recognition, we are also very isolated. So the need for acceptance, for recognition and validation is even higher. To be liked a lot on social media, the more person has likes, the greater the influence they have on others. We also have this deep fear of rejection, a fear of conflicts, right? And so this is how we are wired. This is how you are wired. I'm wired. All 8 billion of us are wired for that particular reason. And for that particular reason, we have a great difficulty in understanding our real self and who we really are and what we are really capable of. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to say is this. You are really meant for greater things. You are meant to fly like an eagle. You are here to unleash your capacity to be a legendary in your own rights. Why? Because you are in the most important, the most greatest program on the planet. The education program we are all in is Toastmasters. And what is the greatest and the most important skill that you can have? It is not being an engineer or a nurse or a janitor or whatever. Your first primary key skill is communication. And out of the way we communicate, we become better leaders. This is where leaders are made. You are here to unleash that. You are here to become a very good presenter, communicator. That's why you are here, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And you want to master your speaking, and you want to stand out as a speaker and as a leader. That's why you are here. You are not, ladies and gentlemen, you are not meant to be a chicken scratching the ground. You are meant to be an eagle. You are meant to fly among the clouds. And today I'm going to demonstrate how you can do that in a very short presentation. Well, I always say short, but we don't know how long I'll speak, right? Now, anyone can become a highly effective speaker. Anyone can become an inspiring leader, but you must stop thinking. You must stop thinking that you are a chicken and start thinking that you are an eagle. Reclaim your ability to fly high up in the sky, because that's what you are here for. You are here to unleash your primary skill, which is communication. Without communication, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are, and I have lived that. I went to the best schools, best universities. I was a top student, but I couldn't communicate, and I was always at the bottom of the rung. Always. Until I learned how to communicate at Toastmasters. That's right. So, here's the question for you. Who is currently in the driving seat? If our survival mechanism is 400 times faster than our conscious brain, who is really driving? Are you driving, or are you being driven? Are you being taken for a ride by the autopilot, unconscious, the survival brain? Most of our lives are really like that. We are being driven rather than driving. We are not in the driving seat, really. We think we are, but we are not. Unless you deliberately, consciously design your life. You see, your life is a creative project of mastery. If you are a great communicator and you take on your life as a creative project, the most important project that you will ever do is your life. And you begin to design it deliberately and move away from the conditioning that you have from the environment. You can fly like an eagle. You can become a legendary speaker. You can become a a confident communicator, when you stand up in a room, they will say, there's something different about this person. When you stand up in a room, they say, there's confidence walking there. There's the person that's speaking with conviction. There's the person that knows what he's saying and doing, right? So that's what's going to happen if you are in charge. So right now, perhaps you might be taken for a ride. I will ask you a question shortly, and we'll see how you answer that. But you have to get in the driving seat of your car, of your life, in the car, your car, you drive it, and make sure that you are able to drive like this person is driving around the bends. He wasn't born with that. No one is born to drive their car, their machine to the max, through the obstacles, through the curveballs that we receive from life. But we can, and at Toastmasters we can, and I'll show you how. So it is time to really take charge of your life. Let me just move my furniture around a bit so that I can move around a little bit. Earlier I had a technical difficulty, so we started a minute after time. But it is time to really take charge of your life. And how does it show up is you begin to have autonomy. Now, what do I mean by autonomy? Because autonomy means that you are no longer waiting for authority or permission from somebody else. How does that show up in a Toastmasters club? It will show up in a Toastmasters club if you are chasing your VP of Education for speaking spots rather than them chasing you. Now, are you in charge? See, this is what I mean, is autonomy is no longer waiting for authority or permission, or your VP of Education chasing your VP of Membership saying, where are you? Why aren't you attending the meetings? You're consistent and you're following through with the program. Most of you said we don't have much time. You have to focus on fewer things if you don't have time, right? Because if you become a very good communicator, what will it do to your life anywhere, not only at workplace or where you make money, where you get promoted, where you get paid, where you get positioned yourself with great communication skills, but everywhere, in your families, in your communities, in how you conduct yourself and how you come across to others. That is fulfilling. That is meaningful life, right? And then you begin to have agency. What does agency mean? Is that you step into the driving seat of your speaking and leadership journey and you unleash your personal power. That is right. You begin to unleash your personal power. So that is very, very important, right? Unleashing your personal power. Because when you unleash your personal power, when you stand up to speak, guess what? When you stand up to speak, you come across as confident, you speak with conviction, you come across with credibility, your content is put together with critical thinking, there's an audience's takeaway, and the audience is listening from start to end with intent. Well, that's the challenge for me today, right? I hope I am. I put myself on the spot by saying that. So, how do you get into the driver's seat? How do you know that you have control over your life? I've already asked a couple of questions regarding that. But do you have a vision for Toastmasters? Why are you in Toastmasters? And what's your vision? Where will you be at the end of 2025, December 31st? Where will you be at the end of June 30th, 2026, when the Toastmaster year ends? Do you know? Do you have a vision? Are you in charge? Did you create a vision for yourself? Do you have the long-term vision for why you are learning to communicate and to be a leader in Toastmasters? Are you in charge? Do you have a plan? When am I going to do my speeches? I have told my VP of Education I'm going to do 2 levels or 1 level or 3 levels or one whole pathway this year? Have I planned it out? Do I prepare my presentations way before so that I am able to plan, prepare, practice, and then on my meeting day be able to present? Which means I'm not writing the speech 2 days in advance. Are you in charge? That is the question, right? That's why we are here. How can you 10 times your impact if you're writing your speech and you're preparing it 3 days before? And if you were like me, when I first started Toastmasters, writing it during the meeting. I've done it. I know. This presentation was prepared a long time ago, and I've been practicing it for quite a while, this particular presentation. And yet when we started, suddenly something happened with the equipment. Fortunately, I was able to recover within a minute and a half. So, are you committed? Is there a commitment to follow through with what you said you would do? If I told my VP of Education that 6 weeks down the road I'll be speaking, I'll be prepared. 6 weeks, nobody has to remind me. It's in my calendar, and I would speak. And before I speak, I'll have planned it. Then I would have prepared it. I might have gotten in touch with my evaluator and with my mentor, if I needed one. And then I will present. I will go through that loop, and we'll see how effective you can become very quickly if you put in minor changes to some of the habits, micro habit changes, right? To become a great communicator, not after 5 years, not after 10 years, within the year. And once you become a great communicator and you've laid out the foundational skills, then you can build into something even bigger. Toastmasters is such a great platform, right? This is an HPL project that I'm doing, right? And over the past few years, I've reached thousands of people through my HPL projects. So there's no end to what you can do in Toastmasters if you use it correctly. Maybe sometimes international president might visit your club or your event even. Thank you, Lara, for being here. Really appreciate it. Are you following through with what you've learned and to incorporate the feedback into what you will do the next time around? Or will you follow through with your commitments? And my favorite is, therefore, it all boils down to how are you managing your time? And 53%, I believe, said they couldn't manage the time well, or they don't have enough time. I understand. We'll go into that. So, Nelly, if you can, what would I say? Launch the poll, please. And there's the poll. And Haswati, if you can read out what's on the poll for the 2 polls that they have to answer, they're both of them on the one.
Sure. So the question is, how often do you truly feel in charge of your speaking progress? And the options are, always I drive my own growth. Sometimes I push myself when motivated. Rarely I wait for assignments or feedback. Or never. I am more of a passenger than a driver. And I see maximum people responding for the first option. Always I drive my own growth. And second highest is sometimes I push myself when motivated.
Good. For those of you who don't know, there are 2 questions on this poll. If you don't see both of them, just scroll down and you'll see them. Nelly, can you take a screenshot of this poll? You might have taken it in 2 sections, or maybe 1, depending on how you see it, and post it in the chat, as well as if you can, for my reference for later on, if you can post it in the WhatsApp group as well, Nelly. So let me know when you're ready, Nelly, with all that information, and then we'll continue.
And for question number 2, the biggest obstacle that stops people from taking charge, most of the people think the procrastination and lack of time. These two options got 37% and 35%.
Yes. You see, they are conflicting answers, right? I am always in charge of my growth, right? But you don't have enough time, so how can you be in charge, right? Or perhaps it's like you think you are in charge, but you don't have time, so that in charge of your progress is very, very slow. Maybe you do one speech every 6 months or every 3 months. Perhaps that's what some of you may mean. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out very soon. Nelly, speak to me. Are you there?
Yeah.
Did you take the screenshot?
Yeah, I'm about to post it.
All right. If you can end the poll and take it down, that'll be great. Thank you all so much for indulging in this. I'll give you some tips and tactics anyways to improve, whether you're in charge, whether you're taking in charge or not, to really fast track your speaking and become a great communicator in a shorter period of time, right? That's the reason why I'm here today with you. My birthday gift to you. It's my favorite subject, because without taking charge, truly taking charge, truly having the time and making use of your time effectively is very, very important. See, the biggest reason anyone ever has these days is I don't have enough time. When I go to organizations and people are gathered around with the water cooler, the first conversation they have is, "Hey, John, how are you doing?" And John will say, "Hey, listen, I'm very busy. I got so much work to do. Last night I was at the office until 8 o'clock, and I took some work home, and then I got up at 4 o'clock, and I was trying to finish some stuff, And people are always busy. But why? Are you busy? Does business, does it equate to productivity? Are you being effective if you are being so busy? I would say that when you are very busy and you are stretched to the max, you are not being effective, you're not being very productive. Okay? And that's a totally whole different conversation in time management. Today we'll just touch upon it. All right. Thank you, Nelly. So for those of you who are on YouTube and watching, or those who will watch on the YouTube later on, this is just a reminder that please subscribe. I know hundreds and hundreds of people watch the YouTube videos, but very few people have subscribed to it. So please do subscribe to it, and I'll be posting more videos. Some of them will not be on the live stream. They'll just be posted. And I've had interviews with the world champions of public speaking, with international presidents and so on, which is in the library, which I'll be posting in this channel, because I've changed the channel as well. So please do subscribe to this channel. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So now here are the obstacles of why because of our survival brain and that need for validation and to be recognized, and afraid of rejection, and afraid of offending somebody or being offended very easily. This is how it shows up in life. And here's how it shows up. Right? You all know FOMO, fear of missing out. Right? From my interaction with a lot of human beings over the past many years across 3 different continents, here's the thing that I found. What I have found is that people indulge in many different things. They are spread out thinly all over the place. They will indulge in one thing here, another thing there, another thing there. And some Toastmasters actually tell me they are members of 5, 6 different clubs. And how can you speak at 5 different 6 clubs? I'm sure it's good for Toastmasters International, but how can you serve, and how can you speak, and how can you be in 5 different clubs? I have no idea. Or they're doing so many different things. And the main reason that some people are doing that is, of course, because they want to be recognized. They want to feel important. It's driven by self-importance. So, if I get a recognition here, I'll do this. If I get a recognition here, okay, let me go do this. And so on. I'm a member of only one club, and I go and help other clubs by speaking when I'm invited. That's all I do. Sure, you're supporting Toastmasters International, but make sure that you're supporting in the right manner, right? Or whatever other activities you are doing out in the real world, make sure that it is the right type of activity that has growth involved in it, that you're growing with it. Because fear of missing out dilutes your focus, keeps people reactive, and you are never intentional, right? Because you're spread out so thin, there's no real intentionality that will move you forward. So the best thing is to begin to narrow down and focus on those things that will help you progress faster and fast track better, is to see what's really going on with your life. Where are you really spending your time? Right? I've already talked about being busy. It creates an illusion of progress while it drains your energy. Here's the other one that I find that really gets under my skin, is people take the path of least resistance. They try to take shortcuts. And when you start to take shortcuts because you're spread out everywhere, and you're now very, very busy because you're spread out everywhere, then of course you'll take a shortcut over here, you'll take a shortcut over there, and you'll take a shortcut over here. And now these people here see that you're not fully engaged. These people here see you're not fully engaged. And these people here see you're not fully engaged. And how are you branding yourself to begin with? Shortcuts weaken your capability, they erode your resilience, and it begins to keep you mediocre, because now you're taking shortcuts everywhere because you're spread out, you're very busy, you're not able to pay attention to your spouse, to your children, to your Toastmasters, to your work, and myriads of other things that you're up to in life, right? So each of these obstacles can be reframed as a false signal of agency. You really are not in the driving seat when these things are present. When I ask people, can you be here? Can you do something? And they say, I try. I say, no, you won't do it. Sorry, I'll go ask somebody else. Do you use the word try? I'll try to be here. I'll try to do that. So those people who get on my team, they say, I will do it, or no, I don't have enough time. Sorry, I can't do this. No try. So these obstacles really are false signal of agency. People think they are in charge, but they are not. They are being driven by something else, the survival brain. They are not thriving and they are not flourishing. If you are thriving and flourishing, that is the time when you are in charge of your life. Okay? So I thought I'd bring this forward so that you understand that even though I think I'm in charge, am I really in charge, or how much in charge am I, if at all I'm in charge? I mean, I didn't say that you're completely not in charge. Of course, then you would be a robot. But how much really in charge are you? And there's myriads of distractions to keep you busy all the time, right? Social media. This device over here, right? And playing with games, and Facebook, and LinkedIn, and YouTube, and you name it, your TikTok, and your Instagram, and do you know what I mean, right? And then all those messages and all those things that come up that are not geared to make you productive, that make you less effective. A lot of time is wasted on this device unnecessarily. Use it wisely. Use it wisely. What can I say? Road closed with these distractions, and this. So this is how it shows up when you're not in charge, right? And this is what we tend to do. It's just being human, by the way. It's not that I'm blaming one particular person here or whatever. 8 billion of us are wired the same way. 8 billion of us have the tendency to do the same thing. We are wired that way. So it's when you recognize that, you begin to have empathy for each other, you begin to have an empathy for yourself. And that is the easiest way of uplifting others, uplifting yourself, and creating great, amazing teams. When you recognize that it is just being human, that these traits are present. So the misconception is simply this, when we say, be accountable, be responsible, there's always a misconception around that. And the misconception is simply this: most organizations operate from outdated paradigm. When they say you are accountable, they're really looking for a scapegoat. They're trying to find who to blame. Or even when you were growing up, whether it was your primary caretakers or in school, or generally when people say you are accountable, they actually used to mean, or they probably mean now, that you are to blame if something goes wrong. But it's not so. We need to shift our thinking, especially in the Toastmasters realm, especially if we are growing and learning. And if we have effective bosses and they know and understand what does accountability really mean, it reduces, when there's blame and stuff like that, it reduces us, the human beings, to a risk to manage, rather than creators that can be unleashed. So the critical shift comes from not the external enforcement. You are accountable, and if you're not, you will see the pink slip. In my side of the world, pink slip means you are going to be seen outside and shown the door, right? So when external motivation changes to internal motivation, internal inspiration, right? We begin to have an internal choice, and you begin to really take charge, rather than being driven by external circumstances or by that need for validation and significance, self-importance, right? And then you're spread out everywhere. So taking charge is not given by the system. The system is geared to actually distract you and keep you distracted. And that's why, all this social media has, how many likes can you get? And how many people can you argue with? It's really designed for that, to keep you engaged so they can advertise, right? It's not really free. And so you have to reclaim your agency, your autonomy. You really have to unleash your personal power and become who you were really meant to be. Like everyone here, 100% of you should say, I'm fully, completely, totally in charge. And how it shows up in Toastmasters, my VP of Education knows my plan for the next 3 months, 4 months. And I know the dates when I'm speaking. That's taking charge. Mission impossible? Not really. Not really. So, taking charge, what does it mean? Number one, of course, we've just said this. Being responsible means to act with intention and with integrity. So when I'm responsible for my time, I'm responsible for my life, I'm responsible for my commitment, I will deliver. People don't have to come back twice to you and say, where is it? And say, oh, I didn't have time. They don't have to come back for that. Because now you branded yourself as somebody that's totally reliable, and that you branded yourself as a leader. This is where leaders are made. Some people say, oh, in Toastmasters, I just stand up to speak. No. You become a leader because now you're showing all these traits. That's what Toastmasters is for. Communication means you are leading. You act with intention, with integrity, and when you are accountable, you own the outcomes without excuses. So in my team, in my club, Leadership Speak, where it's one of the top clubs globally, I tell people, yeah, sure, you will make mistakes. I mean, we don't even call them mistakes. We call them learning experiences. You're not going to be perfect. It's an advanced club. But when something doesn't go according to plan, you say, okay, let me just go correct it. There's no excuses and there's no stories. People don't give me a story. They don't sort of say, oh, I asked John and he did this, and oh, this person did that, and so on. No, we don't do that, right? We just say, let me go correct it. And when you do, you begin to charge your tank. You take charge, right? You become fulfilled. Life becomes meaningful. You begin to have a growth mindset. You learn, you adjust, you evolve. Growth mindset is all about being open and receptive to feedback loops. And guess what Toastmasters is all about? It's all about feedback, isn't it? In the end, because every time we stand up to do something, sure, we're going to fall flat on our face, but we're going to go correct it. I say it is only a mistake if you keep repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Then it's really a mistake, and then you're becoming careless. But you do something, and then you try and improve it. Sure, you'll make another mistake. Sure, you try and improve it, but you're progressing forward. That's different. That's not a mistake. Those are learning experiences. But if you don't adjust and you keep doing the same thing without adjusting, then you're not really progressing anywhere. That means you're not in charge. So, now what I'm saying is you need to move faster in Toastmasters, become a great speaker, and then do bigger projects. A lot of people don't do level 4 and level 5. They don't do, I've seen a lot of people actually not do the HPL projects. I always do all the HPL projects, and I always do speak professionally in level 5, right? You should go for a DTM. All of us, all of you. That's when you're really in charge. That's when you're using all this stuff that I'm saying, right? So, taking charge is becoming the author of your own blockbuster story. Are you writing your own story? Do you have that script? See, the script, again, is very simple. In Toastmasters, it shows up as, my VP of Education knows what I'm doing in the next little while. He's not going to be chasing me. The VP of Membership is not going to be chasing me, They all know, and everybody else in my club knows where I am, what I'm up to. And they know the days I will be there, and I will be there, and I'll be consistent, right? Being self-directed, writing your script, not just playing a part, not being taken for a ride, but you be the driver and you take yourself to where you really need to be. You direct your life with intentionality, with purpose, with vision, a story that is so bold. And you can do that because you want to be a great communicator. And if you're a great communicator, your story is so bold, it inspires the audience watching. It inspires the audience watching. It makes your very existence a call to action for others. That's what all communication is about, isn't it? The way you communicate and the way you sort of say what you mean what you say. It's all about communication. Your actions are part of your communication. It's not only just verbal. If I say I do something and I go do it, I communicated something to somebody, that I'm a reliable person, that I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I model the way. I'm an exemplary person. And you rise faster in the hierarchy in your organizations. You are able to serve better at Toastmasters, right? So that's when you pursue your path with relentless fire. You become legendary. You all can. We are all wired one way, survival. But we can also 8 billion of us, also become legendary. It is simple, but very hard, of course. Hard because we have to overcome the survival brain that is 400 times faster than our conscious brain, unfortunately. And that is the reason why, we have to do a lot of training and personal growth. And Toastmasters is just one great place to begin to do that, and to communicate well, to stand up and to speak is transformational. It really is transformational. Remember your first icebreaker speech when you stood up and you were shaking in your shoes? Well, some of us were, some of us weren't, but we were still not that confident, right? And then as we began to speak, and the more consistent we were, and the more focused we are, and the more better plan we have, the more confident we are, the more we speak with conviction and credibility, and it takes us a shorter period of time. Then we can move on to bigger things in Toastmasters, rather than for the next 5 years you're just doing part 1 and then part 2, and then you are working on your vocal variety here one day, and then you're working on your eye contact the other day, and then you missed out on your putting your content together this one day over here, and you're going over and over again for 5 years. What for? 5 years later, you should be doing an HPL project or a DTM project. Your second or third DTM, you become the area director, division director, whatever it is, and you're doing your DTM project. And because you're focused and you're not busy everywhere, you are learning and growing very, very fast. That's becoming legendary. I learned this the hard way, by the way, as well. Nobody told me these things when I was a Toastmaster in my early days. I've been a Toastmaster for, you've heard, 30 years, right? So, become unstoppable. That's it. Become unstoppable. Why stop? Begin to have a vision. What's my vision statement? Why am I here in Toastmasters? And where will I be at the end of 2026? Where will I be at the end of 2027? Where will I be at the end of 2028? When am I getting my DTM? When am I becoming an area director? When am I becoming a division director? When am I becoming an international president? For sure, heaven's sake, why not? Lark must be smiling there. She would say, yes, absolutely. So what you have to do is you have to manage yourself around time. You cannot manage time, boom, right? You have to manage yourself around time. We think that we need to manage time. I cannot manage my time. This thing is ticking. I can manage it. It just moves. But I have to manage myself around it, around this ticking that's taking place, and I have to become effective at what I do. So, okay. Make sure that you fast track your impact and have straight. I just remove my furniture out a bit. Make sure that you're fast tracking your impact and you have the strategies for being able to do that. And this is the most important thing, by the way. Fast tracking your impact and having those strategies. I'll go into that in detail. I'm just checking my time. I know my timer will be saying, hey, you're going too much over late. Okay. So the other thing is take the initiative. And most people don't want to take the initiative is because it uses up a lot of energy to begin with. But once you put things into motion, it becomes better. I'll get into that in a second. So the number one thing then, let's look at your why. Why are you in Toastmasters very quickly? And I've said this before, right? In my several other presentations that I've done before. This is just for those who have never been to one of those presentations before. So if you refer to the presentation I did last time, 2 weeks ago, from club to community, the leadership multiplier, it is on YouTube. Please subscribe, go there and watch that particular presentation. It goes into detail about these sort of things. But briefly, overview here, right? There's this community. What's this community? This community here is the club, right? And it's really not a club. I really like to call it a study group studying communication and leadership. That's what it is. That's the community you're going to join, or you're already a part of this community, right? And so here you are. Here you are. You come along and you say, okay, I'm part of this community, or I want to join this community. There has to be a common ground, right, between the community and you. Shared vision. So the community already has a vision or a mission statement. We read that at every meeting, don't we? We do in my club. Every meeting we read the mission statement. And it means something. And you have to be aligned with that mission statement. And that's the common shared vision. If you don't know what the mission statement is and you're just joining, how can you create your own vision if it's not aligned with what the community is providing? So you really need to know what that mission statement is. And when you know that, this common ground here is what? This common ground here is basically the zone of magic, the shaded part here, right? The zone of magic. And so that's when you begin to have a vision, your own vision that is aligned with what the community is offering you. Right there, right? That's you, and that's the community over here. Your study group, the study group where you're studying communication leadership, that's the community you're joining. For some of you who are listening for the first time, I know it seems a bit strange, right? I'm calling it a study group for studying communication and leadership. That's why I'm just standing here and seeing the effect it has, because that's basically what we are doing. We're not clubbing. I mean, clubbing is, sure, it is a legal name for the, it's a legal entity of how we are created, how we pay our dues and how the dues are collected, and we don't pay taxes and so on, right? That's why it's called a club. But we're not really clubbing. We're really studying communication and leadership. I tell in my club, everyone, in all the clubs that I've been, we are really a group. We must come together as a community, and we are studying how to become better at communicating and leading. Right? And I have a common vision statement with that. So here you are, right? Boom. You want to join Toastmasters International. What is your vision? Do you have a vision? Because without a vision, as you know, what they say, the people shall perish. Right? Perish. And so let's review this. What is the mission statement of a Toastmasters club? And I've left out deliberately, blanked out some spots here. As usual, for those of you who've been here before, you know exactly what I'm going to say now, because I've said this so many times in so many different presentations in the past couple of years. But here it is. We provide a supportive and positive learning experiences. So we are here to learn. It says positive learning experiences. It's so important. It doesn't say safe space. It says positive learning experiences. And I hear in Toastmasters go, we have to create safe spaces. I don't know what that means. But if we say we are creating a positive learning experience for our members, that's a different story than I'm creating a safe space. Sure, of course, when we stand up, we are vulnerable and we shake in our shoes. But it's supposed to be positive is how we give feedback, how we are with each other. It's different than being safe means I'm afraid to offend you, and you might offend me, and I might react, and so on. That's a safe space. But a positive learning experience means we need to come with a learning mindset, and a growth mindset is very, very important at Toastmasters. You really have to let go of the survival brain that kicks in and says, he said this feedback, he made you look bad, and this guy said this, and I'm now offended. That's the survival brain. If you're getting offended, it's your survival brain kicking in. It's not your thriving, your flourishing brain. If you're not able to give people the feedback in a positive learning experience, then your survival brain is kicking in rather than the thriving, flourishing brain. See what I mean? That's why I always say it's not a safe place. It's a positive learning experience, and become a good evaluator. And what does it do? Self-confidence, right? So let's read this. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence. When it is a positive learning experience and we are not afraid of offending each other because now we are having a different approach, then this is possible, right? And boom, personal growth. We all know it's personal growth, but do we really live like it's a personal growth? Now that you know the vision statement and you know what the club is providing you, what's your vision statement and why are you here in this club? How many of you truly know why you are in your club? Do you have a vision statement? In Leadership Speak, we ask everyone, what's your vision statement? Why are you in this club? What's your intention for the end of the year? What's your intention for the next few months? What's your intention until 2026, end of June 2026? We ask our members. We are not afraid to. we have a positive learning environment. It creates positive learning experiences. We are not afraid, oh, somebody might get offended or I'll get offended. That's all survival stuff. We don't need that. In a growth environment, you need to flourish and thrive. It needs a different mindset. And we ask everyone what their vision statement is. Do you know your vision statement? So if you know your vision statement, you've started the journey, you're taking charge of your journey. So there you go. Boom. Do you know your vision statement, my ladies and gentlemen? That's the question mark for you guys, for everyone here. I've made a lot of presentations before. It's all on YouTube. Go and watch those videos about going in depth in this subject matter. Here's what, and I must say that I don't know how exactly to pronounce this gentleman's name, but Friedrich Nietzsche, I believe. Please correct me later on. Okay, but he said this: he who has a why, or in our case a vision or a purpose, if you wish, to live for, can bear any how. So if you really have a vision, then you won't complain that I'm busy or I'm spread out everywhere. You have a vision. Now you need to follow that vision. There's a direction in your life. It solves a lot of problems when you know exactly where you're going. That means, and it's a very important word I put up there, it means you're being self-directed, because this program is based on being self-directed. It absolutely is. The whole program from start to finish is all self-directed, isn't it? Nobody's going to tell you what to do. Sure, the VP of Education will run after you because now they have to fill the agenda, and they shouldn't be doing that. You should be self-directed. And when you're being self-directed, you take authority. You don't want somebody else to tell you what to do. You have the permission to set your goals and the direction you want to go in. You set the authority, not somebody else having authority over you. You don't want authority from external sources, right? So it is the ability to set directions. That's your own authority. You are taking agency. You are becoming autonomous. And you're beginning to unleash your personal power. And therefore, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, when you have a vision and you know the direction you're going, it's very, very simple for me. It means you know how to use your calendar well. And so, let me see if I can do this. I'll just switch off myself here for a second. This is my calendar from this past week. I mean, the September, as you can see, right? And here it is, this past weekend, Friday, September the 5th, and Saturday, September the 6th. It is full of stuff that I was doing. And you will notice one thing. On Saturday at 9:30, from 9 o'clock actually to 12, it says Leadership Speak. My club meets every week from 9 to 12. It's in my calendar. Nothing else comes in there. I'm always at my club from 9 to 12, even though we begin at 9:30 and end around just after 11:30. So 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. But I'm there for 3 hours at least, and sometimes longer when we are socializing after the meeting ends. So what I'm just saying is that I use my calendar diligently for all the things that I'm doing. You will see even on this calendar here, I've marked out that prepare for this particular presentation that I'm doing right now. There's lots of spaces here taken up for that. Even on Saturdays, I was preparing, and on Sunday, I was preparing for this particular presentation. Right? We need to really manage our time well so that we don't say, I'm too busy. We must say, I'm productive, I'm effective, not busy. Right? Like I have times allocated for my activities that make me productive and that make me effective, and where I am able to prepare my speeches well in advance, read the whole project properly, right, in pathways, and be able to follow through with the project, what it's intending for me to do, and follow through with it. That is using the time wisely, and that's when you're in charge. So are you trying to manage time No, you're not. We know that by now. I already said this, right? You are really managing yourself. The clock is ticking. It will not stop ticking. You're not managing this thing here. So what have you got to do is you got to manage yourself. And so this is the one thing that I found. I've been in Toastmasters for 29, 30 years now. People fail to manage the time well. They're always busy. I'll hammer this point home. Yeah. It's getting irritating, isn't it, the ticking of the clock? It is getting irritating to me. So I'll go on to the next slide. But you get the point now, that everything should really end up on your calendar. The time you're going to prepare, the time you're going to present, the time you're going to sort of make sure that you have adequate time for planning and preparing and so on. So this is where I'm going to talk about how to fast track your impact, although about the planning, preparing, and all that, and what it really means. Okay, so, and I know this cursor over here is I'm using two different computers, so this little pointer here, I can't even move it now. Unfortunately, it's there, so you'll have to ignore it. Technical difficulties. That's the one technical difficulty that I had, that this pointer is still there. So, so the first thing, of course, is, and I've said this over and over in this particular presentation, is, of course, plan. Begin to plan so that your VP of Education is not running after you. Define intentions and outcomes. What am I here for? When I know my vision, I know what I'm going to be doing in the next 1 year, the roles I'm going to take on, am I going to be on a committee? Am I part of the executive team? Am I going to be on the executive team next year? How can I serve? Because when I'm serving my community, I'm being served back. You find your true self by serving others. It's not about, if it is only about yourself, I've said that before, right? Toastmasters Club is a community. Go to last week's, 2 weeks ago presentation, all about community, right? And you'll find that. And therefore, you need to plan accordingly and define your intention and outcome for the community's well-being as well as your own well-being, right? Because if you are being effective at what you do, sure, of course, we are learning. So it's, you're not like already a confident speaker, but wherever you are at, you actually practiced to that level. And so by doing that, you're serving your community. And then what you do is you prepare your presentations. I know now that I'm doing 5 speeches for the next 3, 4, 5 months. These are the dates. Okay, what am I going to talk about? I've already done my icebreaker. Oh, no, I want to do my icebreaker. Okay, I'm brand new. That means you have a mentor. But if you are done 1 or 2 speeches and though now you're beginning to plan, you go to research your presentation, you know that you got to read several pages and you got to go through several videos on the pathways, right? So how are you going to do that? You're going to research, you're going to outline, and you begin to create content mastery. Of course, it comes through several iterations that you begin to understand content mastery. In the beginning, you will not. But if you've done already one pathway, you should have a grasp of what content mastery is. I always watch the World Champions of Public Speaking. They are masters at content mastery for a 5 to 7 minute presentation. Are you doing that? Are you studying the World Champion of Public Speaking? How did I get there? Do you see how simple their presentation is? Part of my research, part of understanding the content mastery. How have they mastered what they are doing, right? And then what do? I take that. If I'm just at level 1, my second speech, okay, I'm not that great right now. I will have a mentor. I'll put something together. The mentor will say, just to encourage me, he was not going to throw me in the deep end. You say, okay, just a couple of things, and I'll prepare and practice. And what I will do is I will experiment. I'll begin to discover what's lying within me that needs to be expressed, and I'll make several iterations if possible. That's when I'm in charge. And then I will present my speech. But before I do that, there's one other thing I will do, and we encourage in our club or in our study group. Please contact your evaluator. And we ask the evaluator, please contact the speaker. And we make sure that the evaluator and the speaker meet and communicate with each other so that the speaker can tell the evaluator what they should be looking for, because the speaker knows the direction and the vision and why they're in this particular Toastmasters club. I am, for example, the Toastmaster will say, I work in IT. My presentation is geared towards IT personnel. And so, dear evaluator, make sure that you're looking out for this languaging or this body gestures, or this is what I'm practicing. Mr. Evaluator, please look out for these things besides the objectives of the presentation or the purpose these days, right? And this is how you fast track. You've taken the time, you've taken the time to coordinate with your mentor, to coordinate with your evaluator. And you've taken the time to, of course, practice and iterate. Are you in charge? You will get a feedback at the end. You'll only get a 3-minute feedback, right? Because that's all the time that's allowed. But is it enough for you? Most people say, oh, he said, use your vocal variety. And I think I did use my vocal variety. What does he mean? Right? I'm not going to ask him again. He said my content wasn't right. For heaven's sake, please go and talk to your evaluator. Create that environment where you get feedback, and you should be a champion at receiving feedback. That is the way you fast track, because now you have time to go and speak to somebody about how can I get better. Sure, I've received my 3-minute evaluation. Can you give me some more? I'm hungry. You need to be hungry. So when you receive the feedback, you receive it and you ask for more, and you absorb it and you internalize it, and you become part of you start to embody. Then you go back, you start to reflect and you refine. What did I do well here? What did I do well? Didn't do well? Don't get embarrassed. If you're getting embarrassed, you're not in charge. If you get angry and you're pissed off, you're not in charge. Refine, learn, unlearn, and relearn. Learn, of course, the skills that you're learning new from your evaluation. Unlearn the habits, the bad habits that come in the way. Let them go and begin to relearn stuff that you've already done before. Like I have already done the vocal variety several times, so I need to know that my vocal variety is working well. Or do I need to relearn it? For sure, fine, let me relearn it. But I don't want to spend 5 years learning vocal variety, voice modulation. The basic fundamental skills, voice modulation, eye contact, gestures, moving on the stage, have them down packed. So then you don't have to worry about those things. Then you just worry about what's the most important thing is your content and how it flows. After you've done that, self-evaluate, edit, and calibrate as to where am I at, what is my intention, what sort of a speaker do I want to become? It's part of your vision statement. What sort of a speaker do I want to become? How do I want to come across to other people at the end of this year, at the end of next year? How am I growing and learning? Have you done that? That's taking charge of your journey. Self-evaluate, and then you repeat the whole pattern again, right? What do I mean by repeat is, you come here, right? You got more clarity, right? The payoff is clarity. And then what do? You go back to the first step and look at your plan again, and then go through all these steps again. It's a loop over and over, round and round and round. This is the loop. Fast tracking your impact means inconsistent. I'm about to get into that now. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. That way. Let's move it that way. Okay, so the first thing, of course, is therefore People did say taking initiative is some of the most difficult things that they encounter, and absolutely it is. So what does taking initiative involve in being able to sort of, it's on the other side these days, to be able to do this, right? To how to fast track this, you need to take the initiative to start the planning process and so on, and how to go down this. Initiative always takes a lot of energy. It does, right? Because initiative means to become self-directed, and I said self-directed leader. Why? Because only it is in self-leadership that we become better and understanding ourselves first, that we can help other people. So I like to, in my club, that is the mandate, how to become better self-directed leaders, period. That is why you need to join an advanced club, is to become better self-directed, which is leadership speak. Oops. It takes a lot of energy to take the initiative. Why? So if a car has stalled on the road and you try to push it, initially it will take a lot of energy to move the car, right? Because it is standing still. So inertia, to overcome inertia and to take the initiative is a lot of energy, and people shy away from taking a lot of, oh, it's going to take a lot of time. I don't have the time. I'll write my speech on the day of the presentation, 2 days before, and I'll just wing it. Initiative takes a lot of energy. It takes time. If you're not managing your time, then you won't be able to take the initiative and overcome that inertia. Once the car is moving and you're pushing it, it moves, what happens is it becomes easier to move the car. It becomes easier, doesn't it? As it starts to roll, you need less energy. And the faster it goes, the less energy you will need. When it picks up momentum, you need less energy. And therefore, why? You need consistency. Keep pushing the car. Make sure it keeps rolling. Right? And then get in the driver's seat, switch it on, and start driving it. Consistency means, how often am I going to speak? How often am I going to have the roles in the club? If I am speaking and I'm getting the feedback, people are serving me. Somebody's serving me by putting together the meeting. Somebody's serving me by becoming the timekeeper. Somebody's serving me by being the grammarian, the counter, quiz master, table topic master, toastmaster of the day, general evaluator. I'm being served, and I need to do those roles to serve others. Leadership. This is where leaders are made. Do you agree? Okay. And so consistently, whether you are speaking or you have roles, you know when you're going to do what role and when you're going to speak, and be consistent so that the car keeps moving. There's momentum. As soon as it stalls and you are not consistent and it stalls and stops and stands still, people give up, or you will not speak for a long time. You won't do a role for a long time because now it takes more energy, takes another level of initiative, and oh, damn it. Do you understand? Do you really understand what it means to take charge of your life and being consistent? And you must speak on a very consistent basis to be able to get to the legendary status or be an excellent communicator. You need to be able to be consistent. The magic lies in consistency, overcoming inertia, taking the initiative, using a lot of energy at first, and then being consistent and creating those micro habits. What are those micro habits that I can change and have a new pattern of thinking, a new way of doing things? If you're doing the same thing over and over again, you will not get a different result. You have to change a few habits. You have to change how you see your time, how you manage yourself around time. You have to change this fear of missing out. You have to change this busyness, this distractions and all that. You got to change, make those micro decisions and change your habits to become a better speaker and do this thing. That's when you are in charge. And therefore, it needs discipline. Discipline means what? It means that sometimes my cerebral brain kicks in all the time and says, no, you can't do this and you mustn't do this. And my disciplined mind says, it doesn't matter how you're feeling today, you turn up. Inspiration never shows up, my friends. Inspiration never shows up. If you're waiting for inspiration to show up first, it never shows up. Consistency creates inspiration. Inspiration never creates consistency. And therefore, you have to be disciplined to turn up. Doesn't matter what my emotional level is. I'm building emotional resiliency by being where I'm supposed to be. I said I will be at the meeting. I'm at the meeting. And I create my emotional resiliency by following through. Emotional resiliency is raising your EQ, emotional quotient. This is the formula. Discipline means having the courage and the boldness and the bravery to turn up and say, listen, guys, I'm not feeling that great, but I'm here for you. How can I serve you? And as soon as you say that, and people say, all right, come on, let's play together. We know, okay, you may not be feeling that great. How can we play together? Now, that's a high-performing team, isn't it? It's simple as that. You don't have to sort of tippy-toe around and say, oh, I'm not feeling well. How will these people feel? That's a safe, you're looking for some safe haven rather than a positive learning experience where you cannot express yourself. Positive learning experiences. Boom, that's the environment you are in. And you have to have the discipline to turn up no matter how you are feeling, because that's what you said, I'll be there. Now, of course, we all know that there's times when, you know, something happens in the family or something happens at work and we really are called away, sometimes even at the last moment. Sure, those are rare instances though, right? They're not regular. Rare instances, you know that, and I know that. So there's no need to even mention that. Let's push the car away. All right, be gone. Okay, so, and out of all this, what do you do is you gain certain skills. And what are the skills that you gain? Because you're going through that loop, you know, the plan, prepare, present, you know, and self-evaluate, take the feedback and so on, and then repeat the loop and reiterate. By doing that, you begin to have critical thinking over your content. So this is how my content really works. This is how the content affects the audience or inspires the audience, moves the audience. What are those 4 things that in level 1, speech number 2, write a speech? What are those 4 things that you do with your audience? Yeah, I was doing this so it came thumbs up. It says, of course, inform, inspire, persuade, right, or entertain your speech and your audience, right? Those are the 4 things. And so if you want to do that, this critical thinking that you use, how can you do that? How am I going to inspire this audience? How am I going to inform this audience or persuade or entertain this audience? How am I putting together my content? If you come for professional training, I even say negotiating and motivating, and there's all different types of speaking, right, as well. And so you begin to have content mastery when you're reiterating and you're being consistent. If you're not being consistent, you will not get content mastery. I see people speaking 5-6 years down the road and they still cannot have an audience's takeaway. What is the need for the audience? You're always speaking for the audience's sake. The audiences have turned up because they want something from you. They're not just there, oh, okay, to give you some feedback, but what's my takeaway? Right? Content mastery. Listen to the world champions of public speaking. That's all they have, is they've simplified their speech. It's so meaningful with the simplest of words, and there is a takeaway. Now, I don't want all of you to be world champions of public speaking. There's only one every year. That doesn't mean that you don't become a great communicator. That doesn't mean that you don't be in contests. That doesn't mean that you don't rise up to maybe the area level or the division level. For some of you, the district level. Some of you here want to be world champions of public speaking. I know Hannah here wants to be on the world stage of finals, if not the champion itself, no matter what your age is. Content mastery. And when you're content mastery, when you speak up in your organizations, in your communities where you are partaking, the effectiveness with which you convey yourself is just going to be off the charts because you know how to begin and you know how to grab attention and you know what's the takeaway at the end for your CEO or for your vice president or whoever you're reporting to. And that means you're going to climb up the ladder very quickly. John is a great presenter. You communicate so well. Wow. Did you see our world champion of public speaking this past couple of weeks ago? Right? What did he do? He wanted to become a performer. He went to a presentation in a financial division in his company where he was told, okay, do this presentation. He did a funny presentation instead. And they said, wow, you're just amazing. I'm sure he learned it from Toastmasters, right? So, just checking my technology. All right. Content mastery is so important in being able to communicate effectively. And therefore, there's coherence in your message. What you think, what you say, what you do, and how it all comes together and how it's presented, it's coherent message. And when your message is coherent, I said clarity there. It's all about clarity, because you gain clarity through that loop. As you go through the loop over and over, you begin to get clear, crystal clear on what's it all about. And these are the skills you will develop out of all this stuff over here. Now it's becoming a bit complex. No. All right. So clarity, right? Which is this. You gain these skills by doing this. And you do this to go through that loop. Plan, prepare, present, and all that. Right? So here we go. Let's reiterate this. So with the skills that you get, which are over here, right? I'll just dim them a bit. But when you stand in front of people, how does it come across this skills when you gain this particular skill? How does it come across to people that are standing in or sitting in front of you, watching you speak? Well, it's very simple. Number one is confidence. When you stand up to speak, and when you have these skills, you'll become confident as a speaker. Key element, right? Key element. What is confidence is now when you get up in front of people, you are comfortable with your speaking. You are comfortable with 10 people sitting in front of you, 20, 100,000, 10,000, whatever it is, sitting in front of you, and you'll be comfortable. You won't be shaking in your shoes. You know what you're going to say. You don't have remembered your script to the word, of course. You know what you're going to be saying. Like this particular presentation, I don't remember every word that I was going to say, right? So, and I've gained the confidence because I practiced a lot. And now I deliver with confidence, and you should be able to deliver eventually with confidence. So when you stand up to speak after the next, so make yourself a promise. After this 1 year, next year, June, I'll have done these things consistently. I'll have taken charge of my time. I will have taken charge of myself, really, right? And do these things and be able to speak well with conviction and with credibility. Why? When you're speaking with confidence, you are comfortable in front of the audience. You speak with great conviction, right? You speak with conviction, which means the subject matter is internalized and embodied within you. It is the subject that you're passionate about and how you deliver it, and it's delivered with conviction. And when you do that, right, you come across as a credible speaker, because trust is low in the world these days. It's very low, trust. So when you're able to create trust with your audience by the way you speak, you rise up very rapidly in the world. In your organizations, in your communities, your family will look up to you, because now you're a better speaker and a better communicator, and you're communicating with credibility. There's trust. As soon as you begin to speak and open your mouth, you stand without even saying a word, and your body language will tell everyone who you are. And you know that. We all know that. We are Toastmasters, so I don't have to go into that. So that is what comes through because of the clarity, the payoff of clarities. Right? Oops. Let's get this right. My technology, come on, stop it. All right. Clarity is the key to the loop. So let's have a look at that again. We're coming to the end of this presentation anyways. So let's rejig all these things again, right? So I put the skills are over here again, right? Let me just switch off my video for a second, all right? So you can see this more clearly. Yeah. All right, technology, come on. All right, there we go. It is very simple. All you got to remember is that loop that I was talking about, okay? The feedback loop. And so, you know, initiative and energy and all discipline will give you clarity, which gives you the confidence, right? And it gives you this as well, and this gives you this as well. So in the end, this is what we are all after, right? This is it. So let's put a different color to that. In the end, this is what we are after. Really, that's what we are after. And when you've taken charge, that's what you will get. In a shorter period of time, you will fast track your growth. Right? There you go. Right? So this is very, very important. Right? This particular loop here is very, very important. You know, you plan, you prepare, you practice, you present, get a feedback, have an open learning mindset. Don't let your survival brain kick in and get offended or embarrassed and stuff like that. Instead, have a mindset that is growth mindset and ask for more feedback. And when you do that, you refine, you learn more stuff that you need to learn and begin to internalize it, unlearn the bad habits, and relearn things that you need to downpack the basic fundamental skill level, right? And then you self-evaluate, you edit, and you calibrate, and then you repeat, and then you go back to the plan and start all over again. This is the loop that will get you to nirvana, heaven, Satori, whatever you call it. What do you guys think? I'm almost at the end of my presentation, but this is what I mean by taking charge. That when you take charge, this should be possible that you can become a great speaker, fast track your impact in no time. Oh, where am I? Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, there we go. So this is what happens, all right? This particular thing here. So ladies and gentlemen, taking charge means what? It means having the vision. Why am I in this club? Why am I in Toastmasters? Actually, the real question is, why am I in this study group? To study communication leadership. What is my intention? What is my vision? Where do I see myself in a year's time? I have to begin to manage myself around time. And we know those things that came up, fear of missing out, the self-importance things, you know, being spread out everywhere, being busy, and so on and so forth, right? They get in the way of managing yourself around time, because your survival brain kicks in and says, no, you have to be everywhere and do all these things, and you have distractions, and let's start arguing with people on social media and everywhere. And you don't need to even do that. I don't have a TV. I just remembered, I don't have a TV. I haven't watched a TV in 25 years. I spend myself educating myself. Yes, I know what's going on in the world. I just need to look at the headlines, and it's all, ugh. I don't like to put that in my head. So I manage myself around time, because now I have time. I don't indulge in things that I shouldn't be indulging in. My goals are huge. My goals are to speak to a big stadium in the future, right? That's why I'm doing these things. Selfish at the same time as serving and contributing. So fast track your impact and your strategies. That's the loop, the plan, prepare, present, and all that stuff. Okay, and take the initiative, be consistent, overcome the inertia, put in the energy at first, and then keep consistency at the foreground and be disciplined and turn up no matter what. You create trust, you create credibility just by doing those things, and then you learn credibility of a speaker as well at the same time. It's all about leadership and speaking. It's not just speaking. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. You gain autonomy, right? Autonomy is what? You're no longer waiting for permission, or you're not nobody else is driving your car. You are in the driving seat. You're not being taken for a ride. You have the hands on the wheels, and you know where you're going because you have a vision. And then you have agency because you're stepping into the driver's seat of your speaking and leadership journey, and you unleash your personal power. That's it in a nutshell. You have overcome the survival impulses of being validated, being liked, being afraid of rejection, of being offended, or trying to avoid offending others. You created that space where it is a space for positive learning experience. That's the space you've created, right? And that, ladies and gentlemen, in the end, when you stand up to speak, whether it's on the world stage or anywhere else, authenticity comes through because that's embodied within you. Take charge. That's what we are doing here. So that's the end of my presentation, I believe. So the next thing that I've got to do is to launch a poll. And the red light just went on a few minutes ago. I believe my timer will tell me later on. But that's the presentation. Now tell me whether you are in charge of your life or not. And it's like that. So let's have Nelly. Can you launch poll number 2? And Nelly, if you can unmute yourself and let me know where you're at. Okay, there you go. And I think there's 2 questions on this as well. Yes, there's 2 questions on that. So I'll just get a bit closer to, because the screen is so far from me, I can't see. So I have to get a bit closer to see what's going on. All right. Good. So Aswati, if you can read the 2 questions that are on the screen there for the people to answer.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, sure. So the question is, what's one area you will take charge of immediately? And the options are planning speeches with intention, practicing deliberately by recording, reviewing, or refining your speeches. Third, asking for sharper feedback, then self-evaluating after every speech, or volunteering for more speaking roles. And I see maximum people are voting for planning speeches with intention. And the second question is, if you fully committed to the take charge loop, how much could you grow in the next 6 months? And more than 50% people have opted for the option 10x exponential growth. 39% says 5x significant improvement, and 8% says 2x steady progress.
Wonderful. We'll keep the poll up for a second, a bit more, because there's 67 people who can vote currently. That's what it says on my screen here, of which only 48 have voted. About 20 haven't voted yet. Please do vote and tell us, this is a positive learning environment. It's not about survival. It's not about getting offended or trying not to offend people. We are trying to grow together here, learn, to thrive, and to flourish. That's what we are doing here. We are not anymore in the survival, range where we are knee-jerk reactions, reacting, getting embarrassed, getting offended, trying not to offend, tiptoeing around, looking for validation, trying to be liked, and so it waters down, it all becomes mediocre. Instead, we want a positive learning experience. We're not looking for a safe learning experience, which is all to do with survival. We're looking for a positive learning experience, right? That is taking charge. of yourself, is how your mental brain here works, how you sort of focus on the right things, as well as how you are with other people and how you serve other people and how you allow them to serve you with feedback and the feedback loop. That is taking charge. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for indulging with me today. Thank you for being with the poll. This presentation is over officially. All right. Thank you. So I will now switch off my presentation as well. This is tricky because I'm using two different computers here to do all this technology. I'm surrounded by screens and computers. It's an expensive hobby. Okay. So there you go. All right, now I can see everyone and better because I've switched on a couple of things here, and things may not appear the way they should be, but it's okay.
We have a question also.
Oh, we have questions. Oh, I love questions. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Before questions, Rob, post the feedback.
Oh, yes, and could you please complete the feedback form that is in the chat? I really thrive on feedback, and I will shortly switch on the sound so that you can all speak with me and so on, and with each other if you wish. Where is the sound thing? There we go. Unmute. So you're all able to unmute yourself. The only reason why we don't be muted when you come into the room is the reason that, you know, a lot of people have their microphones on inadvertently, of course. And while I'm talking, there's a lot of distraction that we were trying to avoid. You could always put up your hand to ask questions, or if you have any questions. So, Hannah, is it posted in the chat right now?
Yes, it is. I post it again.
Yeah, please post it again. Please, please, please complete that feedback form. I really thrive on that. I spend a lot of time and energy creating this thing. So I need some feedback from you. I need to be served by you as well. I've served you, hopefully. Hopefully it's been, you'll tell me in the survey, I mean, in the feedback form, okay? And please do serve me back by filling in the feedback form. And there were some questions, did you say, Aswati?
Yeah. So the question is from Jonathan Mustasa. And the question is how to take charge if someone is feeling not respected, especially for new managers.
So, you know, that is a question that comes up very often as to how managers are behaving, or how some leaders in your organizations may be behaving, right? And so the trick is really is to find out how you're coming across to them, how they're perceiving you to begin. So it's taking responsibility. It's not that he should be disrespecting you. Of course, he shouldn't be disrespecting you. But how are you coming across yourself to the manager? What are you putting out that he's reacting in that way? So that means now you've taken on a leadership position without a title, and you have a manager who is not really a leader, but now you're thinking like a leader. Why is he reacting this way? What am I putting out there? What can I change about myself? So you begin with yourself, really. What can I change about myself? So this guy really shouldn't be doing this. What can I say to him? How can I assert myself? Or how can I speak to him? Who can I speak to? Are those things that you need to do and understand so that you change their behavior. When you change your behavior, the other behavior changes as well. It doesn't mean it is right that they are disrespecting. They shouldn't be disrespecting. Of course, there should be a positive working environment, right? Not an environment where you are sort of tippy-toeing and getting offended and being offended and offending others. It should be positive working environment. I hope I've answered your question. It really begins with you assessing yourself as, what am I putting out? How can I be a bit more assertive? What can I really say? Am I having the right eye contact with this person? Because, you know, when somebody's like pushing you and you push back in the right manner, that diminishes. And then you go to speak out and say, hey, listen, rather than saying, I feel disrespected, it's say, can we have a conversation? It could be a manager, but still, that means you are gaining confidence, you know, and you are becoming a better communicator and being able to communicate accordingly. These are very tricky things that cannot be answered in just one little answer here, but you get the gist, right? of what I'm trying to say. Now, of course, we have Lark Dolly here. Lark, thank you so much. I didn't expect you to be here today. So, but really, it's a blessing to have you here.
It is always a blessing to me to be here. It's always inspirational to be here. So I am so glad that I am here today. And Bron, thank you for your golden gift to us all today.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. And I hope I can serve even more, of course, as I go forward. Thank you. Lark, what was your big takeaway today? So that others could get inspired as well.
I think that, as I think has been said in the chat, it's just the simplicity of your message gives it its power. So literally, we are in charge of ourselves, but how many of us really are in charge? So I love that. We all said we were in charge, but then we're showing that we're not. So the message to me is, yes, we are responsible, we are accountable, but truly, are we showing that by our actions? So I thank you so much for that simple yet powerful message today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lark. That brings me to mind that, most people will say, I know myself. And I tell, no, you don't really know yourself yet.
Yeah.
Because, we all think, yeah, I'm in charge. I do what I want to do, but are we really? So how does it affect? How do people really see you, right? So that's what it is, yeah. So thank you, Lark, for being here. I mean, an international president being here is such an honor. I truly am.
No, but see, it's my honor. So I thank you. I thank you for
Likewise.
Having leadership speak. Every time I attend, I am inspired and I learn so much. So again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now, Aswati, you said there were other questions yet, or was it the only question?
That was the only question. One.
Okay.
We have someone raising the virtual hands. Abdul Fateh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Abdul Fateh and I.
Yeah, thank you so much, and really appreciate this presentation. And once more, a happy belated birthday. I don't have a question, but I have a rather statement whereby I personally don't agree with your statement, and that is, I'm a member of 4 clubs in 4 districts. And my vision of being in this number of 4 clubs, in some clubs, which are junior clubs, I can give part of my 40 years experience as a leader in real life. While in other clubs, like, for instance, Chapter 1 Advanced Dose Club, I am learning in there because learning never stops. And no matter how many years of experience I had, leadership and communication evolves. So I don't want to become rusty because I have retired.
Absolutely.
I want to maintain that sharpness. And this is why I am a member of 4 clubs. So it's not
that is so inspiring. So what you're doing is you are mentoring a few clubs. You said junior clubs where they need you serving that. So you're mentoring them, basically. You're being a mentor to those clubs. As far as you're not saying, I'm too busy and you're like superficial here, superficial there, superficial here. That's what I really meant. It doesn't matter how many clubs you're in, but you shouldn't be superficial everywhere.
Yes.
You should, when these clubs sees you, they say, we are being served well. When you go to this club, they say, we are being served well. When you go to that advanced club or where you're learning from, they'll say, you say I'm being served, and they say, yeah, we are being served by Abdul Fateh as well. So it's like that. As far as that is present, it doesn't matter if you're a member of 100 clubs. You should be. Why not? Toastmasters International will love you for the money there is. So that was the intention of why I said, if you're just not serving and you are here everywhere, it's because of the fear of missing out. You're not here for fear of missing out, Abdul Fateh, obviously. You are here to serve, and that is totally a different. You are in the thriving, flourishing mode, not the survival mode, right?
Yeah.
Perfectly
Correct.
well. Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So we have somebody from Senegal, Arona. Arona is actually a member of Leadership Speak. Arona, how did you find this presentation? What do you think?
Hello, everyone. I think it was wonderful as usual, and I learned a lot. As a takeaway, I think we need to, as you said, we are on the supportive and positive learning environment. So we must always